Hello, everyone. This is Raj Soren, Black Belt Mindset and Business Coach. And we're fortunate today to have Raj Kedhun, who's an expert in a variety of different fields, but he's going to be chatting to us about the 3-3 Insomnia Hack. So, Raj, welcome to the program. Tell us a bit about background about yourself and what led you to the 3-3 Insomnia Hack.
Absolutely. Raj, first of all, thanks for having me on. Really looking forward to see how this conversation unfolds. And of course, we've got that martial arts affinity as well, because you've been in the martial arts for ages and so have I. So I think it's going to be an interesting one. So a bit of background about me, I'll keep it nice and short. But the reason why I'm telling this story is because I want people to understand the power of their dreams.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a kid, you're born in this world, usually very happy and optimistic and joyful. And I think we lose that. We lose that, the connection with the source of our potential and what good we could do in the world, like whether we want to be a leader, whether we want to be a fantastic parent or, do something and be a top class athlete or whatever it is. And I think we lose that. Way too many people, millions of people just lose the connection with their childhood dreams. So when I tell this story, I'm hoping that people will feel that, oh, you know what, I should connect with what that I wanted to do as a child and see if I can do something with that, either write books or get involved with people, build communities, something connected with your dream. So it all started when I was 3 years old. My mother took me to nursery school in London, where I was born, and we enrolled to the kindergarten, and we looked at the playgrounds and the classrooms and so on. And then we ended up in the library. So in the library, the first two books I pulled off the bookshelf is one about dinosaurs and one about planets. Right, so the Thomas the Tank Engine and the Mr. Happy and Mr. Sad books or whatever, I didn't touch any of that. But for whatever reason, these two themes of dinosaurs and planets just became so deeply etched in my mind or my memory that they guided me throughout my entire life, more so than the conventional schooling did.
Dinosaurs and planets. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And that got your interest in reading?
It got my interest in evolution. Because dinosaurs, like, why would you be interested in creatures and animals? Why? I was interested in the degree of intelligence that each life form can express, whether you're a crocodile, you're an elephant, you're a dolphin. You go higher up the chain, you become more able to communicate, cooperate with others. So that's where it fascinated me to think there are animals that are less intelligent and animals that are more intelligent. I was fascinated by that. Dogs as well, as you know, dogs are my best friend because they can feel and sense your energy and respond to you.
I mean, dolphins have this incredible skill as well, don't they?
Communication, incredible, absolutely amazing. The way they can coordinate together to work together to make something, either protect their pride or their herd or their group or something where they cooperate and they work together to achieve something. I think humans can learn a lot from that.
You talked about dreams early on, childhood. Many of us forget our dreams as we grow up. All the negativity, disappointment in life that hold us back. And yet you're saying that we can tap back into that in human potential?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our colorful dreams, because in school, it's kind of trained out of us because you're not taught to rely on your imagination. You're taught to pay attention in class and to cram your head with book knowledge that doesn't really even serve you after you finish anyway. So it's like you're bored. You're like you want to do what makes your heart sing. You want to do what makes you feel, fascinated and compelled and passionate. I think that's a human quality but because of you can call it the Rockefeller model that we've been given in school, we're all bred to be consumers, not producers. We all have to consume, get into debt, get into fights with our wife because we don't know how to manage interpersonal relationships, get divorced, have kids, or and we don't know what we're doing because the external narrative doesn't support true human potential.
It's interesting for those who are not familiar with the Rockefeller sort of the background around that, the model. To explain that to the layman.
Well, the Rockefeller model, and I think Henry Ford and a few of those other industrialists who were became multi-millionaires and billionaires at least, they gave a system because they wanted people to work in their factories and people to be subservient and listen to them. They would give them a 9-to-5 job and say, you just do this within these hours and I'll take care of your house, your food, and a little bit of pocket money. whatever. But then when we realize that as time is going past, we still have the Rockefeller model, but times are changing. We've got AI, we've got big ideas, we've got internet, we've got smartphones, we've got YouTube. So we're beginning to learn at a rapid rate, not be hemmed in to a consumerist society where you die and you have no idea what your human potential was because you're trapped in a matrix of a system that's geared to keep you trapped. And the problem is, the most insidious thing about this is that the more you compound or think about the wrong ideas, the more you trap yourself over time.
Yeah, it's an interesting self-fulfilling prophecy. The education system is geared up for you to get a job, not for you to become an entrepreneur, a business owner. We're enslaved into getting that first car, the debt of education, debt of mortgages, and the rest of it.
Yes, exactly. And JOB means just over broke as well. If you look at the acronym that way, JOB, you could say job is like just over broke. You'll never be free financially. You'll never be free in your life. You'll always be tethered to a system that doesn't want you to be free. That's the idea.
Interesting. So how did all this lead you to the well-being space, and especially with the 3-3 Insomnia Hack?
Yeah, so we continue the narrative from when I was a kid. Study dinosaurs, study animals, study evolution, evolution, you have this in animals. How do humans now evolve? Can they evolve themselves with conscious effort and awareness and persistence and consistency on a daily basis? Can they evolve themselves? And the answer is, of course, yes. And when it comes to the planets, I'll just dial this in quickly. Planets, they're amazing. You've got Jupiter spinning at 47,000 kilometers per hour. You've got Saturn with its amazing rings. You've got Venus, you've got Mars. And you'll say, what are all these planets doing there? What are they doing there? You can't deny that they're there. They are there. So what are they doing? They're having interplay of forces of different characteristics, vibrations, frequencies on life forms as well as on humans. That's what we have to understand. So when I unfolded, kind of tried to understand how all this works, I realized that it's nothing to do with society in the sense that you can rise above it. You can transcend it when you understand the energy behind it, right? So there's only two constants in the universe, consciousness and energy. Everything else is a variation on those two themes, which will never change. Consciousness and energy. Now, when you understand the body, the human body, how it works, you realize that, you can go for 40 days without food. You can go for 4 days without water, but you can only go for 4 minutes without breath. So that tells us that the breath is the most vital fuel for the human body. But if it's so vital, why isn't anyone talking about it? Why isn't it talked about in school when kids could inculcate the right breathing methods to have a fantastic expanded consciousness, expanded awareness, strengthened immune system, strengthened nervous system? Why isn't that being taught? They don't want you to be powerful.
That's fascinating. We can do without food for a period of time, if we say 40 days, water for a couple of days, but breath is so important. I mean, we don't teach this to individuals unless you're in martial arts or yoga or something like that.
Exactly.
So tell me a bit more about the breath and how it can help us with our human potential.
Okay. I mean, I can, I'd like to, if I can, if it's okay with you, I've got a story where I met an avatar. You're familiar with the concept of an avatar?
Sure. Oh, yeah. Explain for those who are unfamiliar.
Yeah. So an avatar, like you've seen the James Cameron film Avatar, which came out several years ago, and then Avatar: Last Airbender on Netflix, the great shape-shifting powers that you can gain as a yogi. I met a full-blown avatar in India when I was 18, right? And it completely flipped my life upside down because there I was, an arrogant 18-year-old from London, thinking I know something. When I go and see the avatar, I realize I know nothing. I know nothing about who I am, where I'm going, what the purpose of life is, what happens when you die, how this earth was made. I knew nothing. The avatar made me realize that. Very humbly, in a nice way.
So how do you explain to someone about an avatar? Because people aren't familiar with this. How do you know it's an avatar? People are going to be skeptical, those type of things.
Of course, I totally understand. I was skeptical. I was the most skeptical. I didn't want to go to India initially. But then the kind of creative, explorative aspect of this, what the hell? I liked Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom. I love that film. And he went to India, right? And I thought, okay, let me do my Indiana Jones thing and go to India. And I thought that's going to be cool. And it was cool, but in a totally different way than I imagined it. So an avatar is a power that comes to a human form with a specific mission and a purpose to help humanity in some way, whether it's to bring peace, healing, knowledge, wisdom, whatever it is. Okay. So I met this avatar who was so powerful that it completely, shaped my energy, his electromagnetic energy. We all have an aura. And this power was so huge that it affected me. And then I realized I started to ask questions and then start getting on this whole philosophical track and begin to understand myself, like the Greek aphorism, know thyself. No one can disagree with the fact that you should get to know yourself and explore your potential. No one's going to disagree with that, right?
Of course.
Yeah. So we take it to the next level and say, okay, the avatars and the gurus of India, yoga, this philosophy has been around for 10,000, 20,000 years, and it's back making a resurgence in society for a reason. So what we need to understand about the breath, getting back to your question, Raj, is that in the atmosphere, we have what we think is air or oxygen, right? And in school, they say, oh, it's 20% oxygen, this much nitrogen, and this much hydrogen. That's only a small fraction of the real truth. The real truth is air is made up of three huge constituents. One is light, the other one is electricity, and the other one is magnetism, right?
Light, electricity, and magnetism.
Correct. Correct. That is what is in the space here all around us all the time. So if you know how to tap into it and take it into your system, like we do with breathing methods, you can benefit yourself tremendously. You can overcome disease, you can expand your consciousness, you can expand your awareness, you can feel joy, happiness, peace, all of these things from the abundant electromagnetic energy which is all around us.
That's interesting because there's obviously the magnetism of the moon and all the planets that seem to be aligned, and we're quite unique in the solar system and the universe. The Earth being one of these places which is, you wonder if there's anything else like it out there. People say, no, this is unique.
Yes, it is unique, but there are, as you probably know, people already feel this. There are other universes, there are other planets, there are all types of configurations. But again, the main thing to remember is that they're all based on consciousness and energy, these two things. So you can have any variation of anything you want in this universe, but just remember they're all based on the same two laws, consciousness and energy. So when we talk about the 3-3 Insomnia Hack, I was looking at methods that are simple and easy for people to implement into their lifestyles without having to think about religion, without thinking about becoming super spiritual or becoming a yogi, because a lot of people don't want to do that. They just they haven't got the time for it. They're not inclined to study philosophy all their lives. So that doesn't matter. So I did a lot of complicated breathing methods like Nadi Shodhana, alternate nostril breathing, Kumbhaka, which is breath holds, Kapalbhati, which is skull shining breath, as well as Bhastrika, which is a bellows breath. Did Wim Hof, all these different types of breathing. But the problem is that you have to do them for quite a long time, and you might not feel like it's that easy to integrate to your lifestyle. The 3-3, sorry.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've done different breathing methods like yourself, but not in depth as yourself. At the same time, people have busy lives, they're stressed out, all the different challenges they're facing with their mental health, their physical health, the emotional health. So you're saying this is quite a simple process?
Very, very simple method. It just constitutes breathing in 3 parts through the nostrils and then 3 parts out of the mouth with an elongated exhalation on the 3rd exhale. So what this does, if people were so surprised, well, how do I cure myself of this illness or this disease or this inflammation and so on? What you do is you activate brain hormones. When you activate endorphins, which relieve bodily pain, including inflammation, you also activate dopamine and serotonin, which are feel-good, happy hormones. We also activate anandamide, which a lot of people do not know about. Ananda comes from the Sanskrit word bliss. So why would human beings have a bliss molecule in their brain if they were not meant to be happy?
Yeah, agenda mind. I've come across this very recently. Is it something new that's been discovered?
It was actually discovered in the 60s, but the yogis knew about it 10,000, 20,000 years ago. They already
Mm,
know it.
they're only talking about it more now.
Correct. So you see, we're so behind, we're so backward in a way. But I think this method helps to unlock anandamide, so you feel the joy and the bliss. And you don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to go to the Himalayas. You don't have to go to some Chiang Mai yoga retreat for 300 hours. No, you don't. It's the birthright of every single human.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
And how is it sort of helping people that you come across and that you coach?
Well, as well as I'll also dial this in for the people who are really into sort of contemporary health and healing and medicine. It also activates the vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a very important part of the parasympathetic nervous system for healing, rest, deep sleep, recovery from trauma, injury, surgery, things like that. If you're on the opposite side, sympathetic nervous system, you're in freeze, fight, flight, cortisol, fear, adrenaline, inflammation of the body. You never have a chance to fully heal because you're always outside of your inner peace. You're always externalized in the world and getting frustrated with external circumstance. You have no inner poise, no inner reality for yourself to go back to in your heart, in your mind. So this method has helped people overcome insomnia. It's helped them to overcome stress and anxiety and manage it far better than they've ever been able to do before. It's also helping tremendously with ADHD, which, as you know, I think there's 4 million people in the UK with ADHD that have been diagnosed. In America, it's about 23 million people.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about the role of ADHD in society, and
That's right.
especially entrepreneurs as well.
Absolutely. And this method helps to decrease the negative symptoms of ADHD within 2 to 3 minutes.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I know I introduced you to one or two people, and they already found a real difference. Now, insomnia, there's so many people with insomnia. It's really impacting on their lives. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Raj. There's 800 million people globally suffering with insomnia right now. If you think about it, that's 1/10 of the world's population, right? That's a huge number. And we look at the factors of why this is happening. And a lot of it is because of distractions like smartphones, like endless watching of Netflix, which is so easy to get, all types of media, just riling up your nerves and making you emotional for nothing. The news, you don't have to watch it, but so many millions watch it and they get upset about things they don't even know are 100% real or not. So, that's another conspiracy.
Yeah, these digital distractions keep us occupied. It's another form of slavery in one sense, isn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You've got parents who don't know how to control the kids. They thrust a smartphone or a tablet into their pram and just keep them busy like that. And then when the kid turns up to be like 10, 11, 12, they've got social anxiety. They can't look anyone in the eye. They can't shake their hand. They can't even give them a hug. They feel all isolated and scared. They don't know what to do.
Yeah. I mean, they say it's what iPad or digital parenting, isn't it? They just let that computer, that laptop, the phone be keep the kids occupied when the parents are stressed out. But then that in the long term, that's going to be detrimental, isn't it?
It's going to come back. It's going to rebound because, and again, you always look to the cause. Why is all this happening? Well, no one is teaching wisdom. No one is teaching how to connect to the inner source and have that as your core. No one's teaching it. So everyone's lost. Everyone's confused. They're at sea and they're all drowning and they don't know how to stay poised and anchored. No one's got their anchor down in the seabed, if you like.
Yeah, so, I'm going to very, very much agree with you on that point because the mental health is going through the roof, especially COVID time, post-COVID time. People are still recovering. People are sometimes finding themselves and trying to find out the meaning of life. And we're filling our heads and our energy with the negative energy in the sense with a lot of digital, the dopamine hit getting not from life itself, but from other things like these distractions. Tell me a bit about that.
Correct. So the interesting thing is, and luckily we're so happy to teach people that there are exact answers. Life is, believe it or not, it's a science. It's an art and it's a science. So we've been able to boil down very specific things you can do to improve your influence and your impact on your family. So no one wants to rear a child who is now dysfunctional because the parent realizes, oh, they've absorbed my dysfunction because I was carrying that energy around. So they've absorbed it from me. Oh my God, I can't do nothing about it now. That's horrible. It's a horrible thing to think that I was responsible for a dysfunctional child because I didn't recognize my own dysfunction and I did nothing to fix it because I was too busy drinking or going out with the boys or going to the cinema and not really focusing on my own development. And a kid picks up whatever the parent is, right? So the parents have to understand that, dialing into their own energy and to keep their thoughts positive and have a positive mindset is absolutely critical for the family unit well-being.
It's like monkey see, monkey do, isn't it? We learn from around what we see.
Correct. But more than that, Raj, why it's so insidious is that this electromagnetic energy, which surrounds all of us, we carry it with us 24/7. So people don't pick up what you say, they pick up your energy.
It's like energy vampires.
Correct.
And people that come into a room and think, oh my God, I don't want to spend time with them, because you sense the negative energy coming from them.
Exactly. They don't want to go drained. They would go home and say, I have to sleep early tonight because I just feel drained. I feel my mind is confused or whatever. People like to be around happy people. Why? Because it gives them energy. It helps them to express the best of themselves, not the worst of themselves. So parents need to understand that they have to have like some kind of self-care practices where they can breathe, where they can read, where they can imbibe some wisdom and internalize it and let that be the influence that helps strengthen the children. Children like flowers, like plants. If you don't give it the proper nourishment in the soil of your wisdom and your understanding, then everything grows up like weeds and lopsided and it doesn't bear any fruit. The tree doesn't get a chance to grow.
You need that loving environment, the nourishment, the positive energy. But society is robbing us of that. Are we allowing it to rob us of that?
It's kind of both, isn't it? Because it's like chicken and egg. Where does it start? Right. But the proper way to see it is that we are consciousness and energy. And in order for your consciousness and energy to thrive and to grow and to prosper and to reach out and to expand, which is what its agenda is for everyone, actually, then we have to eliminate all the distractions that stop us doing that and focus only on the things that will bring more well-being today, tomorrow, next week, in the future. And that well-being we can share with people because we have an abundance of goodness, an abundance of happiness, an abundance of knowledge, an abundance of wisdom. And the idea is to share everything you know with as many people as you can.
Interesting. Going back to the insomnia, 800 million people have been affected. What are some of the negative implications of insomnia on people's well-being and performance?
So that's a great point. Great question. So if you don't sleep well, your energy is compromised. If your energy is compromised, your cognition is compromised, meaning your ability to navigate in the world. So whether you're crossing a road or partaking in a sports event or getting on with your family, your wife, your in-laws, whatever it happens to be, you're going to compromise the quality of your life because your energy is compromised because you don't sleep properly. So it has a knock-on effect that other people get affected because you're affected, and you don't necessarily see it, initially, but over time, if you don't get the problem sorted, then you're going to see that you're not rocking up to be your best. Other people are not particularly inspired by you, and you're just leading a mediocre life. So you could not sleep well and walk in. You're not aware of yourself, and you walk in the middle of traffic and you get hit by a car, just because you didn't have enough energy to look around in time to see what was going on. So you get clipped or you get hit or you break a bone or something happens where, because you didn't sleep enough, you didn't have enough energy, you weren't able to operate properly in terms of your body functioning, your nervous system, your reflexes, and so on and so on and so on. So that's just one small example, but it happens all the time.
Yeah, you can be, person at work, you can be a parent, you can be a entrepreneur, a business owner, those things, if you're lacking sleep, you're saying it's gonna dip your performance. What about the sort of people say we need to sleep because we need to detox from, and sort of have a healing process as part of that, and the REM sleep and things like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's important. Having your ordinary sleep, whether it's 6 hours or 8 hours, is important. But what's even more important than that is having some conscious process where you are aware of what you're doing and that you're aware of your brainwave states. When we do the 3-3, the marvelous thing about it is that it helps you get into a theta brainwave state, which is very receptive, very peaceful, very calming. And it puts your mind in a very plastic, easy state where it's easy to reprogram your thought process and your habit patterns, which is, as you know, if you're stuck on alcohol or even pornography, it's a horrible thing to talk about sometimes, but pornography or alcoholism or drugs or spousal abuse, these habit patterns can become so treacherous that if you don't know how to get into a theta brainwave state to change those patterns, it's difficult. So REM sleep, yes, you can get that when you go to sleep. But if you have a self-care routine where you meditate or you do breathing methods, you can consciously take control of a lot of your unconscious reflexes and habits and change them.
So having a proper plan in place for getting better night's sleep, how does the 3-3 Insomnia Hack help that?
So normally when people, before they go to sleep, we recommend people to do it for between 2 and 5 minutes, depending on their level of sleeplessness or restlessness. So the wonderful thing about it is that most people fall asleep within, say, we've seen as low as 30 seconds up to 2 minutes or a minute and a half, which is incredible. So before people actually go to sleep, they could be sitting up reading a book, and they say, okay, well, I'm kind of still restless, and they do the 3-3. They just slip under the cover, and they're like, what happened? I just drifted off to sleep. And if they wake up, all they have to do is do it for another minute or two, and they'll go right back to sleep again. So they'll get their full 6 to 8 hours sleep and get fully energized and feel refreshed in the morning.
So if you're stressed and you're anxious about something, will it help these people?
Absolutely. It's one of the quickest ways to get into flow state. Flow state is a very beautiful state to be in because you're happy and peaceful and within yourself. When you're in flow state, you don't have any inclination whatsoever to fight with anyone because you don't want to lose your peace.
Amazing. And what type of people and organizations have you helped with the 3-3 Insomnia Hack?
So Oracle, software company, Novartis, the medical company, the NHS have tried it, and they're very surprised about how effective and how quick it works without any medical intervention whatsoever. Also Philips Electronics, and there's hundreds of martial artists, film actors have tried it, independent psychiatric doctors and nurses have tried it, therapists of all kinds have tried it, and they all unanimously report very similar positive results.
So that's a great number of names there across the sort of the corporate sector. This is fantastic, and it's helping the layman. What's your mission, Raj, and how do we get a hold of you?
Okay. Also, I should also mention people who are familiar with the book. I know it sounds like a strange juxtaposition, but the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, who wrote, as you know, Think and Grow Rich, David Meltzer. He is the CEO of the Napoleon Hill Foundation. He absolutely loves all the sleep hacks. So when he found out about ours, we ended up on his show, and we started talking about it. He's a very close friend of Dr. Joe Dispenza, who also talks a lot about metaphysics and breathing and mind and awareness and so on. So to your question, you were asking about where do people find us, or what?
Yeah, how do they get hold of the 3-3 Hackers? Do you have a website, or what's the best method of getting hold of you?
They can go to keepfitkingdom.com. And on there's a tab that talks about that says the 3-3 products. All you have to do is click that. There's a 3-3 Insomnia Hack program. You can purchase that. There's downloadable resources in there. There's also all the testimonials that we've talked about, video testimonials. You can message us on WhatsApp, email, ask your questions, and so on. So
Fabulous. And we've got a couple of minutes left. I mean, what's your mission now? Because you seem so passionate about making a difference in this space.
Yes. As going back to my childhood story, I was fascinated by evolution and also the planets and how all these energies work together. So my life-consuming obsession was always with that anyway. The fact that I found out some very simple, easy, elegant remedies to help humanity now has made me realize that life is not as complicated as you think. If you distill everything down to a few basic principles and understand energy, it's not as complicated as you think. And luckily, we found a method that helps the vast majority of people to get back into flow, mind and heart coherence, so we can have more peace on the planet. So my mission is to help these 800 million people on the planet diminish or drastically reduce insomnia and sleeping disorders, so they can enjoy a higher quality of energy, enjoy their families, enjoy their work, enjoy their potential, unfold more and more of that to bring more and more quality to the planet and life experience. That's my mission.
That's a wonderful mission to have. And I wish you all the very best in making that a reality. Is there any sort of parting words or thoughts you'd like to share with us?
I would say to people, whatever that dream was that you had as a child, whether it was to be a leader or president or an athlete or play beautiful music or be a lead, any kind of other leader, I think you should lock onto it, find it, take time to think for yourself, meditate a little bit, join communities, read books about it, go on YouTube, find out the best people in the space and see if you can spark that childhood dream again. And kind of work on it a little bit every day, internalize it, create, write it down, make a mission for yourself, do small things like even write a book or do some talks, make a YouTube channel or something. Just do something with it, because otherwise you'll die and you regret that you didn't fulfill what you really had in your heart to do.
Brilliant. We really appreciate you coming on this program. And this is Raj Kedhun from Keep Fit Kingdom, and he's going to help 800 million people out there have a better life through the 3-3 Insomnia Hack. It's been a wonderful conversation. And for those who are watching our channel, do share and subscribe. And we'll see you soon. Take care. Thank you.